Hello and welcome to the couch right here on ZTN Prime. My name is Howard Musonza in studio. I'm joined by the couch squad. Well, for now, just one member of the couch squad, Mr. Tish is here. How are you doing, Mr. Tish?
Fantastic. We've gotten into the second half of the season.
Yeah.
So it's the business end. I think things are starting to shape up at the top and at the bottom as well. So I think we'll dive into that when we get to the power rankings. But yeah, I'm happy that, football is in full swing.
That's the man who gives you the deep dives. So yeah, we'll deep dive into the Castle Premier Soccer League right from the top until we get to the team anchoring at the bottom of the log standings. Also remember, it's also the home of big opinions. It is the biggest football show anyway in the country right now, the couch. And let's quickly go into the trending football stories. And top of the log, Yadah continue to fight from to escape relegation, and one member who's been pivotal in their fight is midfielder Mustafa, who's from Burundi. Francis has been an integral and pivotal member of the Miracle Boys after the departure of the former star man Kama Billiard. He's gotten a couple of goals for them, and he has embraced the responsibility, and he's now leading from the front, and for that he is our play of the week.
Yadah ended a two-game losing streak with a hard-fought 1-0 win over Manica Diamonds at the weekend, though they remain rooted in the relegation places. With changes made to the technical bench, the Miracle Boys are desperate to turn their fortunes around. In the midst of the struggle, Francis Mustafa has stepped up as a true inspiration. Having joined the club last season, the midfielder came off the bench to net the winner against Manica Diamonds, a goal that could spark their revival. With 6 goals to his name, Mustafa has now scored more than half of Yadah's 10-goal tally this season. His coach, Maxwell Tagende Sajongwe, was quick to highlight his growing influence within the club.
He is a very important player. Even as we played him today, you could realize he was half fit, but that's how Mustafa is important to the team. He gives us that extra impetus.
Last season, Kama Billiard made history as the first Yadah player to reach double digits in the league, finishing with 13 goals. Following Billiard's move to Scotland, Mustafa has shouldered the scoring burden and reflects fondly on his time playing alongside the star forward.
The experience is good because last season I was playing with one of the best in Zimbabwe, so I tried to learn more how he's scoring goals, but now this season it's now for me to apply it. No, the experience was good, it was high, so I enjoyed to play with him, and he's a good guy. He used to give us some knowledge, so it was good.
Despite Yadah's current league position, Mustafa has flourished in a team setup that prioritizes togetherness and a collective spirit.
We train well, we train hard, and plus the coach gives us what we're supposed to do, so we have to extra do it to maintain, to fix in the first 11 for the other team. We are like family, so when your friend do mistake, you have to go to him, tell him what he's supposed to do, and it's like that. That's why you see everyone, when we are scoring goals, we found everyone from the bench is coming to celebrate.
Now fully recovered from recent niggling injuries, Yadah will be counting on their leading man to continue firing as they edge closer to match day 19.
We just thank God, as long as we finish the game, we didn't get any injury, so we have to learn another game which is coming. So my target is to reach many goals, but it's not easy as a midfielder, but I will try my best to push until I reach there.
This weekend, Yadah traveled to Bulawayo for a date against Chicken Inn, with both sides tied on 17 points and desperately seeking a breakthrough to climb to safety.
So yeah, that's a piece on Francis Mustafa, who has scored more than 5 goals for Yadah. He's grown into, that man that is expected to save Yadah. Yadah, I think for the past 4 or so seasons, they've been flirting with relegation. And I think in particular last season, things had changed for the better. Yes, Mustafa came in, but there was the Kama Billiard effect. Now he's there. Can he really shoulder, Yadah and carry them through? Because I was looking at the log standing. I think from number 10 going down, they're still in danger. You can't really tell who's going to get the drop at the end of the season. But can he be the man that lifts Yadah?
I can tell you quick we're getting the drop. I mean, I don't see them surviving, but I've been quietly impressed with the work that Mustafa has been doing. When you score 60% of your team's goals, 6 out of 10, I think that's an impressive return, especially coming from a midfield position. So, there was a lot of talk, especially when Kama Billiard left Yadah and went to Scotland, who the question mark was, who's going to give them those 13 goals? And when you get to the halfway point of the season and you've got 6 goals, it's not unrealistic for us to see Mustafa playing his part and maybe getting somewhere close. I expect him, by the time the season is done, to get into double digits. I think his goal return has been impressive in the first half of the season. So, if Yadah survived, I think he would have played a big part.
Yeah, but the second half of the season is a bit tougher than the first half. Are you just adding the numbers?
I'm not.
The fact that you scored 6 in the first half of the season. You put another 6 to get to the double digits.
No, but here's my thing. He's a player who's been working his way back from a long-term injury, right? And for him to be, so I expect him to even get better now, because as we get into the deeper stages of the season, as opposed to somebody who started, had pre-season, and I don't know, he's not Zimbabwean. That's the thing, because when we've seen with our own players, I don't know what happens. I don't know whether it's that mid-season break, something happens. We've seen the trend. 9 goals at the halfway point, 11 at the end of the season. So, I think, this is...
But we agree, though, that the second half will be much tougher.
I know, it's much tougher. But I feel like for Yadah, this could be a miracle from Burundi with love.
All right, into our next story, that sad story that we have heard for a couple of days now. The late FC Platinum and former Highlanders midfielder Brian Banda is set to be buried on Thursday at Lady Stanley Cemetery in Bulawayo. Several prominent Zimbabwean footballers buried at the revered cemetery include Adam Dlovu, Willard Mashinkila Kumalo, Timon Mabaleka, Raman Gumbo, Barry Daka, and Ernest Mapepa Sibanda. Banda, who was 29, joined FC Platinum in 2020 after winning the Chibuku Super Cup with Highlanders in 2019 and went on to win the league title during the 2021-2022 season with FC Platinum. Now he leaves behind a lasting legacy within the Zimbabwe football fraternity as one of the finest midfielders to play in the local league. I know everybody's just been talking about Brian Banda. I know, very, very sad indeed. But one thing that I picked, and I'm sorry, I'm going to pick on you. I want to lay some blame on guys like you, because you're right. You go on radio, you go on TV to talk about players and their impact on the local league. Come the end of the season, you guys you select the top players, what you call the soccer stars of the year. I never saw Brian Banda there. And I was looking at his influence, the way he played his game. And there was a time that I did an interview, I think it was in 2023, with him at Barberfield Stadium when FC Platinum had gone to play against Highlanders. And he said, look, I've come to accept it as fate, because I have looked at the past 2 or so seasons and I look at the players that I play against, and I don't want to blow my own horn, but I don't think there's anybody who has been at my level. So in all your congregations, you guys never, not even one single season, that you thought Brian Banda deserved to be among the 11 finalists.
And that probably has to be one of the biggest injustices when it comes to those soccer star awards, because the funny thing is the conversation always happens after the awards. I think when that soccer star calendar comes out, his name consistently comes up as a player who's missed out. And I think maybe when you look at who he was off the field as well, a very unassuming character, really kept to himself. So I think it was one of those situations where it was, people maybe didn't pay attention to him. And then if you look at his style of football as well, it wasn't very glamorous, but it was effective. So maybe we should, as the media fraternity, as the selectors, maybe we need to look in the mirror and say, do we really understand the game? Because globally, I think we've seen players like Andreas Iniesta, like Xavi. They were a similar kind of player to what BB was, but they were recognized and appreciated consistently. In Zimbabwe, I think I can think of, we're going to talk about Caps United today, I can think of a player like Juan Mutuza. You know, he reminds me, he's got a similar quality, but doesn't always get the same kind of respect. For us, we look at numbers and sometimes use them the wrong way. To say, because Lionel Chukwu scored 17 goals, he's a better player than Brian Banda. Because Donovan Bennett kept 20 clean sheets. But we don't have the stats to say Brian Banda hardly ever loses possession during a football match. So in then being able to quantify that, and maybe that speaks to where we need to go as a country in terms of using data and analytics to be able to understand the game. Because if you're a player because you watch Brian Banda, and I think if you speak to Norma Peza or any other coach, you could tell the difference even in the games, because even before his passing, he had been missing in a couple of FC Platinum games, and you could tell that they did not have their heartbeat. Obviously the plaudits will go to a Jadison Salamani, to a Tando Ngwenya, or even when he was there, a Panache Mtimbanyoka. But I think the first name on that team sheet was Brian Banda, and now at least he gets to rest amongst legends at Lady Cemetery. So maybe in that fitting that he's been given a place amongst the greats of our beautiful game.
May his dearly departed soul rest in eternal peace. So he will be buried on Thursday at the Lady Stanley Cemetery in Bulawayo. In our last trending story, Scotland have unveiled Terence Zukamanja. He has joined the team for this second half of the season in a bid to try and boost the Scots' attacking options. Their top goal scorer is Timo Machope. He's got 4 goals this season. Look, they have got all the arsenal that you may want in the Premier Soccer League. You're talking about Lionel Chukwu, top goal scorer from last season with 17 goals. He's there. Has he scored?
He's got one goal.
He's got one goal. They've got Walter Msona. They've got Kama Billiard. A couple of other top stars within their ranks. But the coming in of Terence Zukamanja, does it improve anything at Scotland?
I don't think he's the answer to their goal scoring problems, because you have to look at his most recent season at SuperSport United in South Africa. I think 21 appearances, just 1 goal. So I don't think in terms of the immediate future he's coming in and banging a hat-trick. But I think his contribution in an attacking sense could free up space for players like Timo Machope, or even a player like Lionel Chukwu, because I think, especially when we've watched him at the Warriors playing for Zimbabwe in particular, he's a very direct player. And I think he is a player who can probably help create space for his forward partners. I do not foresee a situation where he becomes the gunslinger and he carries Scotland on his back and is banging goals in.
Where do you play him?
I think in either one of the wide areas drifting in.
So you've got Kama Billiard on one wide area.
That's why I said either.
This
is not a problem at all. No, but that's the thing. And I think that's why when you look at Scotland as well, I'm trying to say this in the nicest possible way. I think their own greed has gotten the better of them, because sometimes it just seems like, it's like Terence Zukamanja was in South Africa, player X was there. They don't even look at whether he fits into that team.
System.
Because I think because last season what they just did, I think they were 8 of the 11 players that are on the calendar. Like
about 6.
Yeah, somewhere, but a substantial amount of the players that were on the calendar they bought. And I don't know whether they looked at it and said, you know what, no, we want 3 players who can play as left back, 3 players, or as Tony Rindra he likes to play with a back 5 or whatever it is that he likes to play with. Let's equip them. Now it just feels they're like, oh, Terence, you want to come back home? We've got money. You can come. I don't know if he fit.
They want all the nice and good things.
Isn't it?
That's available out there.
He looks good as a mannequin. Like, you know, you put him in the shop window, you're like, oh, you know, with the branded jerseys. That's good. I like him as a player, but I don't think he's going to have an impact that's different from anyone who's already in that Scotland squad.
What do you think? Talk to us. We're all over social media. Talk to us. I just look for ZTN Prime. Let's discuss this. Do you think Terence Dzukamanja will fit in at Scotland? While you're watching The Couch right here on ZTN Prime, in studio we've got a very special guest as we are talking about the Green Machine. And today we are focusing on Caps United and their seemingly journey back from the abyss. Why am I calling it the abyss?
Because you're a Caps United fan, that's why.
Things have not been going on well at Caps United, but yeah, they brought in a new coach, and he's trying to navigate them out of the muddy relegation waters. Now it's been how many weeks after they got out of the relegation? Well, we will break it down for you. But in studio, we're joined by Caps United coach Ian Bakala. Coach, how are you?
Thank you very much. I'm okay.
I can see you relaxed on the couch. Is it like that on the pitch as well?
Well, no. On the pitch is the difference. On the pitch, it's something else.
It's something else. I know we want to talk about, the journey that you're embarking on now, as you try and bring back the spark at Caps United. I know for you can rewind back to the glory days, 2004, 2005, when Caps was right at the top, vis-a-vis what you came to when you came and joined them when they were still in the relegation zone. But just quickly, I know we will get into it, but just quickly, the Caps United that you played for and the Caps United that you took over, from Lloyd Chitembwe. Are there any stark differences?
Yeah, there's a very, very big difference. And, when you come in, obvious case, you need to assess each and every player. When I came, I wanted to find out, how players are, what is happening, why other players are not playing, you see. And from there, I started getting the answers. You see, I brought something that in the team there was no love, there was no unity. You see, they had that fear. You see, this time I think it's a different scenario where every player is free. Yeah, he can talk to any coach, he can laugh. And I think that is bringing something in the team. Okay. And you could see in the spirit, no one is afraid of each other. They are friends now, you see. They know what is at stake. They know what football is. And everyone is pushing in training. There is no walkover like, no, I'll be in the team. I have to relax. Every time now, they know that football is being played like this, which is good, I think, for the team. Looking forward that it will continue.
Right, that's Caps United coach Ian Bakala. He's our guest today as we focus on the Green Machine, Caps United. And the Couch Squad is also here as we take a deep dive in this journey that the Green Machine is on. Stay with us right here on the couch, right here on ZTN Prime.
We are a special day today here in Harare. It's the inaugural show of the Phoenix podcast.
The story of Africa is really a story about rising from the ashes.
I'm privileged to be sitting in Dubai, and I'm here today in this city of Hoi An in Vietnam. And he's the Amazon #1 seller of a new book called Take Charge. She's one of the most famous celebrity chefs in Vietnam.
You just have to speak it into the universe. When you say something, the universe listens. God listens.
But more importantly, we're talking about having the ability to believe in yourself. Because if we want to make our children, it's not what we do for them that will make them, but it's what we don't do for them that makes them. If you want to be a global player, listen to the future. You can't become the pill without the irritation.
You have to go through that pressure. It's what's going to make you shine.
those things that I fell down actually helped me appreciate how to get up again. And every time I got up, I was stronger. Because there's nothing as powerful as an idea whose time has come.
The biggest football show anyway in the country right now, happening right here on ZTN Prime. It is The Couch. And you can follow us on all our socials. Just look for it, ZTN Prime. And we can continue the discussions there. We are focusing on Caps United today. And we've got the coach Ian Bakala in studio, as well as the Couch squad. I don't know, man.
Well, I don't know. Let's just say it's been subbed in. Is it any substitution?
I'm not going to talk much, hey, but David Sengu is here. He's your former teammate.
Yeah.
Did you ever come to training late?
I've never seen that.
But I'll tell you a story. He was my teammate at our social club.
Social, yeah, you can come late.
Always coming late, and the last player to get on the field of play. He would delay. I don't know if it's juju or what. At social level, he would delay. Come on, he would delay. Put on his boots, take them off until everybody's on the pitch. Then he laces his boots and he goes onto the pitch.
No, I think on that he became a star when we left the team. But also that squad was a different squad. I think in my career I've never seen a squad like that. Everyone was a fighter. It was a different thing. Even the coach, he had less work.
Charles McLaren.
Yeah, and it's very difficult to find the caliber like that in football, which it doesn't happen. If you've got a caliber like that in football, then even supporters every time they'll be just sleeping, come and watch. Maybe first half they go back, but it was good, and it's different this time. You see, where you don't even see the large number of supporters, and the quality of the players which are here this time, they are very different than before, And as for me as a coach, I think it's a big job even for me to work so that we have players to do much better than us, That's the wish of the coach. I think we can't be relying on ourselves. We need to build stronger people than us, you see. Then that way I think football will be different here in Zimbabwe.
You can also join in the conversation as Coach Ian Bakala takes us through, the caliber of players that are at Caps United. But for now, let's take a look at the log standings and see where Caps United is, as these guys also take us through the power rankings. Is this where Caps should be? So that's the current log standings after match day 18. So, as usual, the green symbolizes the teams that have made gains. The orange, those are the steady ones, and the grey, the teams that have dropped. And I'm looking at Caps United, they're in grey. This past weekend they got a draw against Green Fuel. Obviously that's impacting on where they are, but I think they've made strides going up to position number 11 on 20 points. But as the coach was saying, there is much work to be done to mold the players, the kind of players that he wants. But for you, who has been the biggest, winners, so to speak, from match day 18?
For me, I think it seems lazy, but I'm going to go straight at the top. I think Moors, everybody had been hyping them up, that 60-match unbeaten run. They go to Ngezi, they got probably outplayed 3-1. And I think we weren't saying it openly, but everyone was expecting the wheels to come off. They had a tricky tie to Highlanders, and if you watch that game, Highlanders dominated a possession. They controlled that game, but the character that Moore showed at, for Salif Chia to score about 2 minutes from time in front of the Soweto end, for me, they just said character. And they are, I think, my best performer of the week based off that. And I think when you consider the fact that the teams that are also in the race, your Zimbabwean, your Taiwan, your Scotland, all dropped points, you then realize that win against Highlanders takes extra significance. And I think even those people who are saying, I know that they're pretenders or, they're going to fall off, I think we're now going like, okay, this could really be happening. There's still a very, very long way to go. But I think that result against Highlanders, at Highlanders, coming from their first ever defeat, for me, I think they're my best performing team.
For you, David, who disappointed you the most? Match day 18.
I'm disappointed with Manica Diamonds, to be honest. I was there, I watched the game, and if you look at the quality that is there at Manica Diamonds, they don't even deserve to be where they are. Imagine 13th, they're on 20 points with the quality that is there in that team. To be honest, they should be challenging for the title. They should be up there. Imagine the past 2 seasons, they've been up there with the title contenders. Yeah, they could lose games, draw games, but they'll still be up there. But right now, it's going to be very difficult for them. Remember, this weekend they were supposed to play FC Platinum, but the match has been postponed because of the bereavement. FC Platinum, the late Banda. But then, for me, for them to move away from there, I thought maybe they could just have given Jaros Tapera another 3 or 4 games to get the things right. Because sacking the coaches right now, I think it has become a cancer. And most teams, they haven't improved, even when they have sacked the coaches. And then you leave the assistant coaches who were brought in by the head coach to be there. Kuti vangu vachi bata ship kuti ngechi ramba chifamba. Inoramba yakangonamirira madhaka imomo. And saka ndikuti hangu for Manica Diamonds to be where they are, I think with the quality that's there.
Biggest disappointment.
Yeah, they disappointed.
Coach, I'm going to rope you in as we also do the rankings here. But obviously, I want you to focus on your team, Caps. When you joined, Caps were flirting with relegation. They'd scored 7 in 11 games, and they'd collected 9 points from a possible 33. Fast forward to now, match day 18. Fortunes have changed a bit. You've collected 11 points off 21, and you've scored 7 in 7 games. Right. Are you happy with the progress that the team has made from where you found them?
Yeah, for now I'm happy. Looking at when I came, I think a lot were done. Things were players, I think fitness levels, even the style of play. But this time I'm happy because there's much improvement this time. You could tell now it looks like it's a team, you see, that wants to play and win games. Than before, there was just like playing, the sake of playing. They didn't have that heart playing for Capes United, you see. But now they're believing in it. Capes United is a big club, and for a player to play for Capes, he has to fight. Capes is not even supposed to be where we are at the moment. When I came, I was thinking maybe Capes would be somewhere this time fighting for first or second position. But when I came, it was fighting down there, first, second, last from the bottom, third, you see. It's complicated. And it brings a lot of work. You see, sometimes it's just a moment where players, they don't have that confidence, you see. Even if they play, we're just playing because now Capes, it's no longer Capes we knew. But the same players, they have to make that club to be big, you see, and which is coming up now. It's looking good. And looking at where we are going in the second round, I think the team will do much better than where we're coming from.
So you spoke about the second round, which is where we are now. And this past weekend, we saw you parading your new players. Right. Are you still eyeing more players, or you are satisfied with the players that are the Mugalu, Chintoshi, Wadi? Are you happy with that, or maybe there are certain areas that you think they need some beefing up of some sort?
Well, I think we've got 5 slots. Obvious case, 2 remaining. We are still looking for some. But at the moment, I think we just have to focus on these 3. I think they will bring stability in the team, which I think everyone in training has seen that I think where we are going, there will be positive results. And I'm just happy of certain players where they have changed. You see, I'm asking myself, but how come before they were not like this, you see? And it brings too much questions. You see, if they were fighting like this, maybe, you know, it's very difficult, but I have to focus now on what is there on the pitch and mentoring them very well. I think everyone will be happy, you know, and looking at the table the way it is, it's something that can change at any time, you know. If they manage to be on top there, even Caps, they can do it. It's just the belief of the team and the players who are there. You know, us as coaches, I know we don't play, but there's a certain percent we add to them so that they start winning the games, and which is what we are doing at the moment.
So you kind of took my next question out of me, because the next question was focusing on those teams at the top and how far off you think you are. Can you challenge maybe to get into the top 2 in this second half of the season? Obviously, when you came, you know, watching the games from the sidelines before being co-opted into the team, you could see, okay, we are playing against Moors. I don't know this team, but from the quality that I'm seeing on the pitch, maybe if I tweak here, my team can be better. I've watched Scotland, I've watched the Dynamos, I've watched Highlanders. From what you saw, you know, from the sidelines, was there any chance, or now if you come now, is there any chance that maybe Caps can go right at the top?
Oh, it's possible. Yeah, because, you know, it's how we plan. And sometimes we have seen in certain leagues where the team will stop leading, they won 10 games, they start losing. Unexpected, the team which was somewhere hanging there start fighting now for the championship. And what I've seen, I want to make Caps, you see, unique. You see, where even if you are going to play, even if they're on top there, they just have to feel that now a lion is coming this side, you see. And for that, it needs a lot of work.
You know, but, you're making a lot of people get excited right now.
Diva knows, you see, and it has happened, you see, and where I'm coming from also, I was coaching a team which had big club in the country, in Ghana Football Club. They were negative at the bottom of the league, but we fought till the end of the season. I think we came number 8 or 9. You see, which if they started very well, they could have even won the league. You see, so it happens. Those numbers don't count. They will only count at the end of the season. You see, at the moment, it's a 50-50 thing, and it's just fighting spirit. You see, confidence, and it can happen.
David, you've been in the structures. You've watched Caps United. Year in, year out, I think for the past 3 or so seasons, there's been a Caps United that we had grown accustomed to. Is there any change from what you're seeing now?
Yeah, for the past 6 or so games here, when Ian took over, there was this era that we were in, isn't it? That was there since Coach Lodge Tembo took over. You know, he has got his own style of play that he believed in. Even when he coached me between 2010 and 2012, there was this, you know, style that Cape United used to, you know. So if you look at players that have stayed at Cape United for a long time, like I think the longest serving now is Phineas Bamusi. I think he is the one who understands that system very well, you know. And there were some guys who came in and left, you know, but Phineas Bamusi was still there. There's this type of play that we were used to. You know, we all know that Lodge Tembo, he believes in a very solid central midfield. The midfield that can play, you know, football. The midfield that is always looking for that, you know, football. And if you look at that team, yeah, you can concede goals, but the team can still, you know, score goals. But if you look at these past 6 games now, I think there is a bit of stability now in terms of conceding goals, even in terms of scoring goals. Imagine a team has scored 7 goals in 7, which means it's a goal every game. But we also need to give credit to Ian. So he has brought in that, you know, a bit of stability. And there are certain players who were not playing, who were given a chance to play and prove themselves. You don't just come to a big club like Cape United and be comfortable and say, no, now I'm there at Cape United. I will just be there getting my salary. Even if I'm on the bench, others will do, you know, a job for me and I get my winning bonus by next Tuesday. No, you have to work for it. He knows because he's a former Cape United player as well. I know. I'm a former Cape United player. So we both know what is needed to be in there. Remember, Howard, when you go out of the system and come back, there is a lot that changes in between that time. Even if you go for 6 months, a lot changes. Imagine the time that he played for Cape United in 2004 and he's back now in 2025. So we have to look at how many years in there. Almost like 21 years since he left Cape United. So he knows there is a lot that has changed, whether administratively or in the capacity of my players. What type of players are now there in Zimbabwe?
So it's okay, because I also wanted him to weigh in on that. So we'll come to that. You're watching The Couch right here on ZTN Prime. Mr. Teach, Ian was saying, you know, he wants to mold the Green Machine into some kind of a fearsome animal. And he gave us a lion. When teams who are up there see, they will say that there is a lion that's coming with the material that he's got. And obviously, from what he was saying, he believes in, you know, man management, changing the perception of the players, working on them and all that, you know, trying to be a friend, a fatherly figure, a brother, and all that, so players feel at home. Can this be done? Can they climb up? Can they continue their ascendance right to the top?
I think if you go back to, I think one of the first shows that we did in the build-up to the season, and we were talking about the teams that will contend for the title. I think I was one person who highlighted Cape United based on their squad. I think my feelings towards the coach, we're not going to discuss that. Towards Leicester, we're not going to get into that. But based on the personnel, you look at that squad, I think out of the traditional giants, whether it's when you throw in your Dynamos and Highlanders, I think they have by far the best quality, even before the signings that they made this season. I think it was an issue, I think, and David alluded to it, in terms of maybe there was a bit of animosity, a bit of friction between the technical team and the players, and not everybody was coming together. And just even listening to Ian speak, it just seems like, you know, I haven't heard him really say much about, I know I came and changed from 4-4-2 to 3-2, what, but it was the culture that for me, and I stand to be corrected, it was the culture that needed fixing. And you know, removing the fear, like he said, and you can see the players playing with freedom. I mean, you can look at a player like Tendai Matindife, for example. I think in the early parts of the season, you know, he wasn't even making the matchday squad, or when he came, he would just be running around like a headless chicken. And, you know, I've watched this young man come through the ranks. You know, he grew up in Mutare. You know, he was touted as the next big hope. I think everyone from Mutare wanted him to go and do big things. He went to Manica Diamonds. That didn't really work. He goes to Dynamos. Okay, he's made it to the big time. That doesn't work. He goes to Caps United. That doesn't work. And it's only now, maybe in the last couple of games, you're looking at it and I'm like, okay, you know, sometimes you see a player and you're telling people like, Adifa, Fanadeo Bora. But there was no way, because you never saw him when he was coming up and the potential that he had. You just saw the misfiring or him not working. I was watching Bruce Kangwa, especially against Greenfield. For me, he was by far the best player on the pitch. And if I'm not mistaken, he's the oldest. But
at 37.
At 37. But you could tell with the way he was applying himself that he's enjoying his football. So when I look at all that, you know, I'm yet to decipher his football philosophy in terms of tactics, but I'm already a fan based off how he's just been able to change the attitude and the culture. And I think that's what I was missing at Caps United. And you are a Caps United fan. I know that. And one thing I've noticed in terms of covering football over the years, Caps United fans, and I think maybe the team takes that personality as well. They're very fickle. When things are working, they work. So if there's a team that can ride on momentum, it is Caps United. Because you just see it in the attendance. They win 2 games in a row. You know that bay is going to be full. They lose 1, it drops down. So if they can go on a run, 4 or 5 games, I think the momentum will start building, not only in the squad, but even with the... Actually, this is the nicest I've ever been to Caps United.
So, Coach, during your heyday, in the middle of the park, Ian Pakala is there. People would believe, that something is being cooked here. When you came to Caps, is there anyone that you saw that reminded you of a young Ian Pakala?
Well, at the moment, there's one, Blessings. I think he's under 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. I think he has been part of the team at the moment, though he's not playing, but on the bench. Yeah, he's a good, talented boy. I've seen something that I used to enjoy as a player in him. He's so young, I think he's 16. But I want to nurture him, something to make him a big star in the country. He's very good, and I've seen a lot in him, where sometimes I wish even the senior players, they should have the heart of this small boy, but qualities are different, and now as a coach, I think, obvious case, I want him to be more than what I did. Looking at his age, I think it's just discipline from him. Starting from there, then he'll be there. But I know in the next future, a lot of clubs, I think here in Zimbabwe, they'll look for his name.
So because you've mentioned a young player, sorry, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Because I've seen here in Zimbabwe, in the Premier Soccer League, even from the time that you were playing, there's a clause from the Premier Soccer League that you're supposed to register 5, 19 and under players in your team. But most teams, they do register these players, but they don't play them. They register them just to fulfill a statute that's in the laws, the statutes from PSL. But here you are mentioning a player who's 16. You've seen great qualities. Will you be bold enough to throw such a young player into the field of play? You're playing against Scotland. Things are heated, and you are there on the touchline. Will you be brave and bold enough to throw a youngster like that in?
Well, I'm a coach. I think I'll do that, because the last season when I was playing, a 16-year-old boy, I took him. The first week he trained with the team, he started the game, which is similar to him. I think for blessings, I think he's more than the one I'm talking about, though they're age mates. But he will do that because even in training, you could tell when he's training with the senior players. He at first he had that fear, but now being in the team, you see, I'm rotating them. There, I think 3 of them. There's this Salah and this other guy.
Zimbabwean.
Yeah, Zimbabwean. So they're just rotating 3 of them. But for these guys, I think one of these games you see him play, because I think even for me, when I started playing football in a premiership, I started at 16. You see, I think from there, I've never dropped down. You see, that's why I think for me, it's good for me also to mentor these boys, because even Caps United, they have to start building their own. You know, when I was a player, I think Diva knows, we used to have youngsters coming, being in the team. And that tradition, I think it got lost, but I want to bring that back, you know. Their own superstar, even if he goes out, coming back, he has to know that there's where I'm coming from. You see, first option, I have to go back and help my team.
But now, the part that I'm going to put you on the spot now, it's a good thing. You're, talking nice things about these younger players. But you're a coach. You bring in a 34-year-old, for example, into the squad. What are you saying to the youngsters?
It's some of the positions, even at 40, he can play.
Okay.
Yeah. Just in Zambia here, another striker, he was a national team player. He won the AFCON with the national team, James. He retired at 42. You see, a striker, it's just like a goalkeeper. You see, these are two different positions in the pitch where, even if he's 40, he'll give you the best. You see, it's not about age. I'll talk about age cheating. A lot of players here, they are more than 40. They are 40 or above.
The players that you have seen.
But as for us, we just see what is where.
Written down.
On the card there. But in the actual sense, if you go behind, you find that some, they are our age mates. They are even older than us. But because they started late, you see, they were not known. You find that, like I'm saying, this small boy, for him to cut some hairs, it's going to be very difficult, you see, because he has gone into calf registration.
Yeah.
You see, he plays 10 years, people start saying, no, he's old. But you find that the older players, this time maybe they are 20, 21. But their real age, they're almost 30, above 30, you see. So here in Africa, it's a different thing. Age can be there. Because the striker I brought, I know him very well. You know, I've coached him at Usaga Dynamos with Ocean, Dauda.
Ali.
Yeah, you see.
So he might be 50.
No, for him.
Not 34.
No. For him, he's young. Because I know him.
Okay.
You see, he has played under 23, this AFCON, whatever. He has played Chan. You see, by then, I think he was somewhere 22, 21, somewhere there. So even if when I took him, he was still young, you see. But because of, you see, he has played on that level, you see. But if you see other Congolese and him, the way we are seated, you're going to say, this one looks like 42, you see. But if you look on his passport, you find that he's 25. But you look at him, then you say, but this one is 34. You know, in football, I think that's why even Cristiano Ronaldo is playing. You see, how old is he?
No, he's 40.
But what is the problem, though, here in Africa? What is the problem?
I think it's just discipline. You know, where discipline is concerned, there are certain players who are disciplined, even if he's almost 40. You see, because there's too much social life outside. Every weekend they need to go to a disco. They train today. You find that because it's Wednesday, he goes in the bar, he drinks, because tomorrow we're training in the afternoons, I'll recover. For that, I think it brings them down. No, the more you take alcohol, the more your performance goes down. But a lot of Africans, they believe that if I drink today, maybe tomorrow I'll drink. Now there's these small boys now, what is destroying them? It's these energy drinks. You see, instead of pushing too much in training, they believe in that, you see, which is something also, it's destroying their minds, you see. They need to push in training. He goes and rests. Once he's home, he needs to reflect what he did. But you find that here, you can tell him the program you're going to do tomorrow. He comes tomorrow morning, you ask him, he has forgotten, because instead of going to rest, you see, and reflect, he's doing something else, you see.
He's in a bar somewhere.
Yeah, dancing, music, you see. So, a lot of players who have played in 240, I think they are very disciplined. I've seen players leaving football 25, 22. You see, there was a player. I won't mention his name, but not here, but in Angola. He's a player who's known maybe in Africa, but he retired at 29. You see, but
I know him.
Yeah, he retired at 29. But he had a brother who plays football, and the other one was 28. Him was 29. You see. But there was someone also in the middle. How old was he? You see. So, this is Africa. You see, and we just have to change. As upcoming coaches, I think it's our job now to work on that. You see, we know where we're coming from. Me, I started playing football at 9 years. You see, under 10. Under 12, under 14, under 16. There was no time for me to start reducing, or you see, for me to be registered to play, I have to get a document from school to be registered at the federation. But this time, there's nothing like that, you see. So we need at least for us to pass through that, building these small boys.
You're watching The Couch right here on ZTN Prime in studio. We've got Captain Out Coach Ian Bakala, the Couch Squad, David, and Mr. Teachers. We are discussing Caps United. When we come back, we zoom in on their upcoming game against Scotland with their mid-season signings. What do we expect from this match day 19 game? Stay with us right here on The Couch. You're watching The Couch right here on ZTN Prime, and we are discussing Caps United. And in the studio, we've got their coach, Ian Bakala, as we take a look at his journey with the Green Machine that has started. Remember, he was here as a player back in the day, 2004, and now he's back as a coach. So this Sunday, you take on, you play away to Scotland. And Scotland, there's been a vibe about them. I'm sure you've heard about, them getting all the good players on the local scene, although you might see things differently, because what might be good for me and him might not necessarily be good for you as a coach, because you've got certain aspects that you look at. But with the three players that you registered, Chintoshi, Mugalu, and Wadi, are we expecting them to be in the team against Scotland? What kind of a game are we expecting from a Caps United perspective?
Well, this game, I think, will be a different ball game. Looking at the caliber of the players which are coming in. Scotland, they've got, I think, good players. But for me, I don't believe in that. Football is being played in the field. And it's how we're going to plan and mentor the boys. And the boys who have come, I think, are those three. For me, I think they'll do wonders this coming week, because even them, they want to show that they are here to work. You know, I've watched, I think, Scotland once or twice, but I'm not convinced that they've got good players. You see, names may be there on the paper, but on the field, it's a different thing. Maybe they used to be good players, but at the moment, it's how they are going to train. It won't be a no cover like the first game. It's going to be a different ball game. I believe, and what I put on the ground in training, it's a different thing. I wasn't here, and I can't judge them based on how they're playing at the moment, but I'll judge them the day of the game. That's why we're working on, I'm working on the strength of Cape United at the moment. I don't care if they've got a good player or good what, no. All my players, they have to be good more than them.
So with the additions that you made, what does this do? Does this make this game very exciting with the additions that you've made?
I think people are going to enjoy this game because the 4-year-old is a different caliber of this league. Okay, you know Wadi, I think a lot of them know him, but it's going to be a different ballgame. There are certain games where we miss opportunities, where we struggle a bit, but we have to fix them a bit by bit. Okay, and I'm assuring you that this coming week, it's going to be different. You see, and looking at where we are, we just have to fight now to move out. At least we forget about the relegation, which we are working on, and the players are showing that. And, I'm just happy again with when I came. There's this boy Tanaka. People were saying he's in discipline or what. Me, I haven't seen that. He's doing his part, you see, during training. I've heard people talk about him, but in training is something else. He comes early. You see, if he has got a problem, he always calls, coach, no, maybe I'll come late. But to find that he calls, he's there already. You see, which is good. And we'll watch a good game this coming week.
So looking forward to that match against Scotland. They've got also their own issues. Remember when we started, we spoke about Terence Jukamanja being unveiled earlier, joining the Scots. Does this make this game a bit exciting in terms of the additions that have been made from a Cape United perspective and from a Scotland perspective?
I think this is by far the best match of match day 19 this weekend, and for me, because of where Cape United are coming from and the trajectory that they're on, I think they bring excitement. I think when these two teams met in the first half of the season, I don't think there was excitement around it because it seemed like Caps was a house of chaos, so nobody was really invested. It was almost like you know what, we're supposed to, it was almost like we're supposed to be excited because of the name Caps. But now, even he's hyped me up and he's talking about the 34-year-old is a different caliber, and that confidence, that charisma, and you see the performances that Cape United have been putting, you kind of feel as a team they are probably playing better. Because I think when you look at Scotland, their biggest challenge is, you look at that team sheet, you'll be like, yeah, we're gonna see some football today. But then you watch them play, you're like,
what is going on? Coach, all the best this Sunday against Scotland. Hopefully you're cooking something, like you were saying. People will start coming. He mentioned about, the aspects that he has picked from the Cape United supporters. Yeah. When the team is playing well, they come. I'm sure you're here to make sure that supporters do come and watch the team.
No, just have to make sure, because we need them, sometimes I wonder why, that national stadium was ever full. I remember Mehiro, so rest in peace, a friend of ours, I think he died just supporting for Capes. You see. And that's what we want for Capes, you said at that moment. Even when I came, I could sit on the terraces watching. You could count the supporters, you see. Capes United, Diva,
That's a perfect ending.
Thanks so much for coming to.
Thank you.
We wish you the best of luck this coming Sunday against Scotland. That game is going to be live right here on ZTN Prime. So make a date with us. You heard the promise from the coach. And well, we can promise you the game will be live and you will enjoy it according to the coach. Many thanks to the couch squad, David and Mr. Teach. Come early next time. My name is Howard Msonza. Enjoy the rest of your viewing right here on ZTN Prime.